Hello to all the listeners. My name is Dylan,
And I'm Dylan.
and we would like to thank you for taking the time to give us a listen. And if you do enjoy, please drop a like and subscribe for our weekly podcast, or even check out the clips that we post from each show.
You can also follow us at our Twitter on screen and then tune in each week, Wednesday night, for our weekly podcast streaming at DatDill on Twitch.
Thank you, and enjoy the podcast. Well, welcome one and all to yet another podcast. Another week of topics. Covering this week everything from the NBA with the playoffs starting. We actually have the play-in games up live on both of our personal screens off podcast camera.
Of course.
So we are probably just going to be kind of reacting to those live. The Warriors Lakers about to start here, but we're finishing up the Memphis Grizzlies, looking like they're about to end the Spurs right now. I guess the loser of this game, or no, the winner of this game plays a loser. So yeah, this is a Spurs season's about to end. Other than that, though, we're going to talk NBA playoffs, kind of what to expect, awards, as well as some of the Bulls offseason plans. Go into the Mayweather versus Paul thing to start. That's where we're going to start there, as well as get into all the Major League Baseball controversy and fun that's been occurring with the season in full swing. So right off the bat, we'll start with the topic that is obviously right there on screen, which is the Mayweather Logan Paul fight. This is another one of those celebrity fights that I don't know. I like, it's one of those where I'm watching the whole thing. I have a couple questions. One, my first question is like, is Mayweather taking this seriously? Because obviously, if this was a straight up like legit, we're just gonna box each other kind of match, Mayweather should like eat him alive within like a round or two.
Yeah.
But obviously not good for show, so I'm assuming that's not going to happen. I know, like, also Mayweather plays like the shoulder roll game where he's basically going to tire you out and punch you out until you tire out in round 8, 9, 10, whatever it is. So I don't know if he's going to try to like keep this one going long, or if he's going to try to shorten it, via like, knockout blows or whatever, or if he's going to be aggressive. I don't really know how this is going to go. I'm just kind of confused. I don't know if Mayweather's actually taking this seriously. I know that there's a lot of like arguments in the boxing world as well as the fighting world in general, to be made on both sides on supporting or not supporting this type of stuff going on. Because a lot of people are saying, which I know I saw like Conor McGregor, for instance, come out and say basically that what Mayweather's doing is embarrassing. Basically, like, going out fighting guys that aren't, or a guy at this point that's not even a really legit boxer for a guy who's supposedly one of the best of all time. So it's like there's arguments to be made on both sides. Of course, it's the spectacle, and of course, it's the show, which is what they're going for. That's why this whole incident was kind of funny, because the whole thing with like, oh, Logan, stole Mayweather's hat at like a meeting that the two had, and it was like, come on, you don't think you don't think that the security guards for Mayweather
Oh, it's
would have
literally made
jumped
for viral
on?
clips. It's great.
That's what I'm saying. You don't think the Mayweather bodyguards would have let anybody get that close to Mayweather if it wasn't approved officially before and everything? Like, it's just, this is the type of stuff that like is going to, it's always in the fighting world, is like stuff to like hype up the fight, get these two as if there's like an actual anger and like, like, oh, we really want to fight each other kind of thing. That's, they always do that in the fighting world. And yeah, in some degree, obviously fighters want to fight each other, but like they're also trying to get as much money as they can out of this, and so it's not surprising that those scripted type of things or events are going to happen. I just, like I said, I don't, those are my questions about it. I just don't know if Mayweather's going to take it seriously. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if he's going to try to drag it out for 6 rounds. Obviously, Paul's last, or are both Paul brothers fighting? Because that's the other thing I'm getting confused
I
on.
don't even know.
Which Paul brother fought Askren, and which Paul brother's fighting this one? That's the part that I really am confused on. I can't like keep it straight with them.
Yeah, I believe. I mean, this is Logan Paul, right? I think it's just Logan Paul that's fighting. I'm
Yeah,
pretty decently confident on that.
yeah, this is Logan Paul, which is fine. I just don't know. Was it Jake Paul that fought Ben Askren? I can't.
No, I think that it was Logan as well.
Okay. So either way, like, obviously not a legit boxer, so this whole thing is like how long is Mayweather going to drag this out for? Because it's really up to him. I mean, he can end this whenever he wants, basically. After like round one, he can basically end it the moment he decides to. So I'm just curious to see how that's going to go. I don't know how the pre stuff is going to be too. Obviously, they're going to have some, random famous people just showing up to perform and stuff, just like the last fight with all the randomness that was occurring. So we'll see. I'm curious to how much money this is going to make too. Just because the last one made I think 75 million or something like that. So I'm just curious to see like what this one actually would entail, because not to sound funny, but Mayweather doesn't, I mean, he's Money Mayweather. He doesn't come out for
He doesn't come out for
$30 million. He's
yeah.
not doing this thing because he's making 30 to 50 million. Like he's doing this because he's making probably close to 100, or you would assume he's making close to 100. So I'm just curious to see what that also is going to be, that's going to be for it. But that's just kind of my thoughts. I don't know what you think about the whole thing.
I think you could tell from this picture kind of how serious they're taking it. And this
Yeah,
is like, I don't know. I feel like literally if Mayweather was put into like a character for a TV show or like a movie or like a fight like it is right now, like it'd be like the angry guy or whatever, and be like, boom, that's him. He's right there. He is the angry guy, and like he's already got the whole, yeah, like the hat thing you were talking about.
yeah.
Okay, like it's a little bit too perfect, and yeah, like you said, he's there for the money, so it's a money thing and it's an entertainment thing. It's probably gonna pull in a lot of money. But I mean, like, this isn't convincing acting for me, Mia, right there.
No,
So
like I said, obviously this was a scripted event. Like this is, again, like I said, none of the bodyguards for Mayweather are gonna let somebody lunge at Mayweather, even if it's Logan Paul, just strictly off of the simple fact that this is like that's what they're paid to do. So they're not gonna let that happen. So it's just, it's a scripted event. We'll see how this whole thing goes. I'm just, like I said, I'm just really curious as to see how Mayweather handles this. I don't know if he's going to drag it out or if he's just going to do his thing and end it in 2 rounds. But after the last one ending in the first round, I feel like they have to drag it out a little bit. Otherwise, people are just going to be like, listen, I'm not paying all this money to watch somebody beat up somebody for like a minute. So,
yeah, this is gonna be like, oh, take it to the fourth or whatever.
yeah. So I'm curious to see how it'll be. I'm curious to see if it'll seem too scripted or not. I don't know. I just, like I said, we'll see how it goes. But it's another one of those. Just, I don't know. I don't want to say fun because I don't want to make it sound like this is like a super enjoyable thing to be occurring. But it is kind of just one of those like random fun events that are occurring that we're just going to talk about forever.
Yeah, which yeah, that's why they make the money, they get the entertainment, everyone's happy.
Hmm.
That's how they
But
go with this one. But yeah, I don't know. When's it supposed to actually happen?
that's another thing I'm not 100% sure on. I probably should have looked this up before the actual podcast, but I would assume it's happening very soon
I
because it
think it
wouldn't
was
make
June, if I'm not incorrect.
well, either way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll watch this one. I didn't watch the Ben Askren one, but it's also Mayweather, so I'm curious to see. I don't know. What am I looking at, Dylan? Anyways, yeah, so that's all I got to say about that. I'm not really sure how I feel about the whole thing, but it'll be interesting, that's for sure. And we'll talk about it after the whole thing happens. I'll probably find, a quote unquote cheaper way to watch it.
Yeah,
Just saying, but wink wink. Um but anyways,
don't
yeah,
do that.
so
Always pay.
oh yeah, exactly. Always pay for every event, no matter how dumb or random it appears.
Or money grabbing it is.
They are hardcore really trying to get your money, like almost on the knees begging for it kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, the spirit of what's going on with the NBA right now, we could talk about. I could start with this.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick, we're just going to start with the first off the MVP conversation going on. So right now, obviously, the whole MVP conversation centered around Jokic, Joel Embiid, Damian Lillard's probably thrown in there, LeBron, Harden. The only issue is that a lot of those guys, in Harden's case especially, didn't play nearly as much to get the kind of recognition maybe that an MVP candidate deserves as far as production throughout the whole season. So I don't think that James Harden should be really, really like close to even being the finalist for it. I think it should be one of those where James Harden is like a nice honorable mention. The Warriors, obviously, with Steph Curry, he's playing out of his mind. With Steph Curry, he's playing. It's just on another level. I mean, he's basically doing like he always played well, and he always played within the system with the Warriors. It's just that Steph Curry never did a LeBron thing. Like, for example, like the LeBron with the Cavaliers back before he joined the Miami Heat, like that kind of thing where he literally just put the team on his back. Like, I've never seen Steph Curry do that just because he hasn't had to, which is, obviously it's not to his
Stay tuned,
not to,
maybe.
yeah, not to his detriment. I'm not saying that I'm not like degrading him, obviously. I'm just saying that like you haven't really seen that out of him. Like, he hasn't had to do it. Of course he's capable, which we're seeing this season, but it's one of those where I just feel like if you talk about the team's success, I think Jokic just basically has them 20 games above 500. He's playing spectacularly. He's probably one of the best passing centers in the league, if not the best passing center in the league. He's a facilitator. He's the massive part of their offense. He's consistent every single game. There's just not much you can say about him that like tells me that he shouldn't be the MVP. I mean, if you look at his numbers right here, just off of a basic, and this isn't even looking at like the analytics and everything, his points per game, 26.4, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, basically. It's just, it's insane what he's doing this year, shooting 41% from three. As a center too, being able to stretch the floor is huge for Denver. They have a lot of shooters there, so being the fact that all 5 players on the court could be shooters from three is insane, and part of the reason why they're so good. So you should look at that. And then if you look at numbers, for example, compared to like a Joel Embiid, on which we're showing you here. If you look at the numbers, I mean, yeah, Joel Embiid's got him in scoring. He's got him in slight edge in the rebounding department, but everything else is there for Jokic. I mean, we're talking assists per game, steals per game. Yeah, you can say blocks. Embiid's a little bit better. That's because Embiid's just a better defender overall than Jokic, but Jokic isn't a bad defender by any means. And then if you look at the rest, I mean, 3-point field goals a game, turnovers, he's got him at a slight edge. Field goal percentage, he's doing a little bit better. 3-point percentage, he's a little bit better. He's just playing unbelievably well-rounded basketball, and his team is the best in the West. So it's one of those where not only is his team the best in the West, but he's also the best player on that team. He's the most important player on that team. And when you look at the actual conversation of MVP, which is most valuable player, a lot of times it basically like LeBron is obviously he should have been the MVP like 10 times. So has, so
Then
could
it gets
Jordan have
boring.
been. Yeah, exactly. It's basically fatigue is what
Yep.
they, I forget what the actual term they use, but it's basically just fatigue of watching the same player win it over and over again. So we're not talking in the NBA about who deserves realistically to be the MVP. We're more so talking about who is the most valuable player to that team who's doing that well this year, and that happens to be Jokic. So I'm okay with it 100%. I think Jokic should be the MVP. I think there should be some honorable mentions, though, definitely for Embiid, Harden, Dame, and Steph, obviously, just because of the way they're playing. But that's just, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think that should be pretty much a lock at this point. And to the conversation, too, that I've heard like Nick Wright say some stuff about how Jokic shouldn't be the MVP because if the NBA wants numbers and popularity and stuff, they shouldn't go after a guy who's really not like on a popular team in the limelight. And I'm like, listen, it does not matter. It's if anything, that's better for the NBA because the NBA has been so heavily, in the conversation of basically having these powerhouse teams and these powerhouse players and everything like that and household names, where it's fun to see a Denver team come around that isn't good very often, actually show, some team full around team effort and then have a central guy in Jokic. And you'll put the Steph Curry stats on the screen right now. Steph Curry's, I mean, he's playing out of his mind too, and you want to talk about valuable to your team and like most valuable player to your team. Basically, Steph Curry's been putting the Warriors on his back and just playing ridiculously. He locked up the scoring title, 32 points a game. But again, it's one of those where his team's not the greatest, and that's why they're in the play-in game. So obviously, you give the nod to the guy who's led his team to a number 1 seed in the West. So yeah, that's just that's kind of just how I feel about the MVP voting. Obviously, like I said, give some honorable mentions, but I'm totally okay with the guy from Denver winning it. I have no problem with with Jokic winning it, and I think it sends a good message to the rest of the NBA as far as who's capable of winning it and who can win in a vote that a lot of people have thought is really kind of a fan vote almost. So
Yeah, so you'd mean like it should actually be based on like who's the most valuable. I mean, not
yeah,
so much most valuable, but also like the best performer of the year. That's just not the same one every year, I guess. It's kind of hard to
yeah.
define now that I say it out loud.
Well, because like you would say like Steph Curry is the most valuable player in the league to his team this year, and that's probably right. But what you're also missing is that, we're also looking at the Denver Nuggets, who are the best team in the West as far as records go. And Jokic is the biggest reason why, and he's their most valuable player and that team in particular. So he should be the most valuable player in the league because he's led his team to, number one seed and being the best in the West with, like I said, almost I think 20 games above 500. So like I'm not going to argue against Jokic being the MVP. Like if I found out tomorrow that Jokic is the MVP 100%, I'm not going to have any arguments or qualms about it. I'm actually going to be happier for the NBA because it's a guy that's coming from a team that's a little less known, little less seen in like the public eye. So, and not one of like the enticing teams like the Lakers or the Clippers or like the Bulls, household teams like the Knicks, names that you just like flash at you, Warriors.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it. And then moving on to coach of the year, which I think should be Tom Thibodeau, which is why you see him on your screen now. So Tom Thibodeau, in my opinion, it basically plays to the fact that Tom Thibodeau has taken the Knicks team, who's just been like a sad story for like the last, I don't know, 50 years of existence. I'm just joking overall, but they have been bad for like, I don't know, the last 10, 15 years, like pretty poor. So to me, I think Tom Thibodeau is probably the coach of the year, just the way that he's able to turn that organization around. The team is playing well, coached by him. The players are playing much better. They're playing more of a team effort. They're playing better defensively. Of course, Tom Thibodeau's a defensive genius, defensive. I don't want to say defensive genius, but he's a defensive guy. So of course, his teams always play better defensively. So that factors into it for me. And then, like I said, just being able to take the Knicks, who are a team that just has been kind of sad, and turned them into like a team that's actually like, oh, they're going to make some noise. Like, do I think that they're going to win it, or do I think they're going to make it out of the East? No, but I do think that they're fun and they have a nice future ahead of them. So especially with guys like RJ Barrett, Julius Randle coming into his own and everything like that, and I'm sure they're going to be able to add players because they're the Knicks. So I'm happy for them, and it's always fun to have the Knicks actually be good. So that's entertaining. But yeah, Tom Thibodeau to me, coach of the year.
Yeah.
Um, and then we kind of move over to the Bulls, a little bit of the Bulls talk. Team that did not make it into the East, but made some kind of noise at the trade deadline, getting Vucevic. I So the Bulls offseason plans obviously centered around who you see in the picture, which is going to be Lonzo Ball. I think Lonzo Ball would be a fantastic addition to the Bulls because I think he brings a really good defensive player, because he's become one of the better defensive guards in the league. And because of his length at 6'6", he's able to guard multiple positions: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, some of the times too. So I really think that that's going to be the move, honestly, because it'll also be a really good distributor who can contribute as far as points go. So to me, that makes sense. He's a great fit for the Bulls, who definitely need a good defensive guard next to Levine. Kind of takes the pressure off of Levine having to guard, their best guard, and so on. So I think that that would be a great signing. I don't think that we should overpay for him, but he also, at the trade deadline, basically said that he only wants to go to the Bulls, and I forget who the other team was. He wanted to go somewhere in the Bulls, but
Really? I
it
didn't
was
even
one
know
of
he was
those.
pointed out at all. I didn't even know he pointed out the Bulls at all.
Oh yeah, it was like 100. It was like one of those where if he was to get traded, he basically said he only wanted to go to the Bulls, and then I forget what the other team was. But him, like I said, to the Bulls just makes a ton of sense because it just, to me, is like a good fit, scheme fit, and everything. And then not only that, but then for the Bulls, then you have a nice core of Patrick Williams getting better this year. I think he's just a raw, small, small forward guy who needs some time. I mean, he was the youngest player in the draft, or second youngest player in the draft. So, and I think he's really showed some talent. He just needs to take initiative. Every once in a while, he seems too hesitant to like take the shot or take the drive, or basically play fluently in his offensive game, which he does have. And so I would love to see him get a little bit more confident this next year, being able to play. And hopefully they can draw up plays for him so that way it gets him that confidence going. Because I think he'll definitely develop into a really good player. I said at the beginning when he got drafted, I said, for better or worse, he kind of feels to me like a early Kawhi Leonard, which, obviously Kawhi Leonard is one of the best players in the league. So, if Patrick Williams is able to come near that, then obviously it's a fantastic draft. But he just feels like he has the same kind of attributes. The long arms to get in the passing lanes, makes a lot of steals. I think that's why they jokingly call him the Paw, because Kawhi Leonard's called the Claw, so he's the Paw. Because he's like baby Kawhi. And then
Right.
he's also got that mid-range game, just like Kawhi too, which is why that's his mid-range game, and his ability to play defense and have those long arms to get in the passing lanes is really why I thought he was like a baby Kawhi. But he essentially, that's what he plays like. So I would love to see him develop. And then I think obviously Vucevic getting in that offense and having an off season to work with Levine. I do think though that they need to work on an extension for Levine. Levine wants to be in Chicago. He said it. And
Is
it's
he
one of
up
our
on his contract this year?
I think he's got 1 year left after I think he's got 1 year left on his contract. So you want to work out an extension earlier rather than later, because you don't want it to be one of those where, maybe because there's always the what is it called? Tampering rules in the NBA has, but teams tamper in other ways. It's they don't it's not like
Sure.
they don't talk to the prospect, or it's not like the players don't talk to the prospect. It happens. So it's one of those where you just want to get a deal done earlier so that way you kind of limit the tampering that could occur, so that way you can keep him in house. But like I said, we'll just see how it goes. I think that that should be the two things that they make happen. And then I think the third thing that they really need to kind of make happen is to get some shooters, and consistent shooters. So I heard, Kelly Oubre was a name that I heard thrown around. I'd be okay with that. I just think that they need some shooters to kind of accent that whole offense, because then you can take Levine off the court, run it through Vucevic. You could take Vucevic off the court and run it through Levine. Lonzo will be able to distribute the ball around. I think if you came back with a team that had a starting lineup of Lonzo, Levine, P. Will, and then maybe Thad is there, and then you have Vucevic at center. I think that's a really good team that can develop together, and so I would love to see them for a full season. So we'll just see. We'll see what the Bulls do. They're going to be active, because I know that Artuvis is that way. He was that way with the Nuggets. That's why we were just talking about Jokic being the MVP candidate for the Nuggets. Well, Artuvis is the one that helped build the Nuggets to where they are now. So I would love to see him, moving forward with the Bulls. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna end up in the lottery too for a pick. So that always oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, he got traded to Denver, or not traded to Denver, traded to the Magic. So disregard that
Oh,
statement.
really?
But anyways,
What was
yeah,
that for?
it's just we traded 2 first round picks to the Magic for Vucevic.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, I forgot about that until literally just now, so I was catching myself. But anyways, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then the last thing I want to mention about the NBA real quick is the who's going to make it out of the East and West. So on your screen, you'll see that the big three for the Nets. I don't know how the Nets don't make it out of the East. Like, I know that they have only had like 8 games played together because of all the injuries. Because like Kyrie takes a break from basketball like every couple games, and then James
Is it
Harden
really
is
been like that still?
yeah, dude. They've only played 8 games together, like all three of them,
What
and
is the excuse been?
it's just like like Kyrie takes like
Kyrie.
Kyrie takes breaks from football. Like, I love Kyrie; he's one of my favorite players, but like he just takes breaks from football. He takes breaks from
Yeah.
basketball, and he'll cite like dealing with family issues or dealing with family stuff. But and then I think it was James Harden had the hamstring injury, which he rushed back from too quickly. Or no, it was Durant had the hamstring issue that he rushed back from too very quickly, and then re-injured it, and then was out for more time. And then James Harden was also out for injury. I might have gotten that flipped, but the deal's the same way. Basically, they just haven't played together. They, like I said, they literally have only played 8 games together. So if they don't make it out of the East, I think it's because of team chemistry issues where they're just not used to playing with each other. Although this team is really suitable too because they're all just fantastic shooters,
Yeah.
and that helps.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they make it out of the East. I think the other team that could make it out of the East very well is the Miami Heat. The reason why, obviously, is because they did it last year, but also they're just a really good team. Like they're just an all-around great team, and they have Jimmy Butler, who you can hate on Jimmy all you want, but at the end of the day, Jimmy's going to get it done, and he's going to play ridiculous, and he'll lock anybody up when he wants to. So I think it's one of those where the Heat are just too good with Bam getting better, and everybody, the whole team. And so I would love to see them or the Heat, or I'd love to see the Nets or them make it out of the East to compete for the championship. Although I think the Nets are going to. I don't really think that the Bucks are going to. It's one of those. It's like how I
Really?
felt. It's just how I felt about the Dodgers for the longest time in baseball, where it was like I need to see it to believe it kind of thing. I don't. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna like say, oh, the Bucks have a chance this year until they actually start to perform, because that's always been the Bucks' issue is they just haven't performed when they needed to. And Giannis is one of the best players, and again, another one of my favorite players. Him and Kyrie are basically my two favorite players in the NBA. But it's just one of those where Giannis isn't enough, and that team, never is able to put it together enough to get past, the Heat or get past, uh, whoever's there against them. So we'll see how it goes. The West, obviously, I think the Lakers, if the Lakers actually figure their crap out, might be in the mix, obviously, for the championship. You can never say that LeBron's not, so they have to be thrown in there. We'll see how this game pans out. The Warriors are actually a team that's been playing ridiculously well this last stretch of the season, so they could be kind of a dark horse to come in, and if they continue to shoot hot like they are, you can basically count them into basically every game. So it's one of those where they definitely could win it. And then obviously the Clippers. Obviously you have the Denver. I don't really think as much as I love Damian Lillard, I just don't think that the Trailblazers are ever good enough to like finally put it together. They just don't have enough talent. It's just a lot of times it ends up being Damian Lillard forcing them to be better than they are, and then he just reaches his max out. He reaches his breaking point where he just can't do it anymore. So we'll see how that goes. But that's what I think. I think realistically the Nets make it out, and then of the East, and then I'm not sure who makes it out of the West. I would love to say Denver, just because Denver's playing really well, and obviously we just talked about how good Jokic is. But I also could see like the Clippers, or like a team like the Warriors or Lakers, like a dark horse team like that, making a run. So we'll see how it goes. But that's kind of just my overall NBA talk. I don't know if you or have anything you want to throw in there.
Yeah. I was gonna say on the Bucks when you're talking about the Bucks itself. I was like, oh yeah, it's that team that everyone's like, literally have like the data science nerds like bring everything out and be like, they're one of the best teams like in years. Like they're absolutely dominated the floor. It's amazing. And then they just
Hmm.
like choke in the playoffs. And like being a really casual NBA fan, who doesn't really watch too much anymore, it's just like every year I'd be like, oh yeah, they got bounced randomly in the first round or like the second round and disappointed. I was like, I feel like this has been the going rate for like 5 years. That feels like a really
Yeah.
long period of time, but I feel like it's not inaccurate either.
No, I mean it's probably been slightly shorter than that, but you're not wrong. I mean that's basically how it's been. Like I said, it's again I got to see it to believe it with the Bucks. They never can put it together. They just never can. They never can do it, and they're so talented, and they're such a great team. And Giannis is fantastic, and then they just reach, I don't know, their potential. I guess I don't know what it is. I just know that they never able to do it, so I won't bet on them until I actually see it happen. So,
Yeah.
but
No, I feel the same way. And the only reason I'm watching this game, besides the fact that we're on the podcast, is pretty much just for the drama. And I didn't know that they still get another chance in the play-in tournament format. Like even if like the Lakers or the Warriors lost, they still get a
yeah,
chance.
I guess that I don't
I had
agree
to look
with
up the
that.
rules, so I was seeing that. I was like, okay,
I guess it's whoever loses this plays Memphis then for the 8 seed, but then
yeah.
because you're the 8 seed, you have to go play the 1 seed. So like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's off. It's what's at stake? Yeah, because then so basically whoever loses this game has to play Memphis, and then whoever wins that game has to play Denver. It's like a weird. Just make it. When I heard it was a play-in, I thought these two games decided like who were going to make the playoffs as the 7 and 8 seed. I didn't realize that this was going to be like a you lock the 7 seed down, and then the 8
Yeah.
seed is up for grabs.
I
I'm
thought
like
I was
that.
seeing someone get eliminated tonight, which I was just absolutely ready for the hot takes and reading all the drama. I'm a little
Yeah,
bit
well, I
gypped.
thought that too. I'm a little disappointed too. I mean, we'll still see how the teams perform, but I'm a little disappointed with that too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess depending on which team you are and like how equipped you are, having to play the number one seed like next is pretty much getting knocked out anyways. But
Well, it's
I don't
also
know.
matchups. It depends. So it's all matchups too. So like obviously Golden State doesn't really have like I don't think a center that can really compete with Jokic. So Golden State would be a little bit of a disadvantage playing being the 8 seed versus the 7 seed. So I think if Golden State wins this game, they have a better chance in the next round. But I think if you look at Lakers, for instance, if they win against Memphis, say they lose this game, go to play Memphis and win, and get the 8 seed, they are a little bit better suited for handling Jokic in Denver because they have the guys who can cover Jokic and Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond, and then they also have LeBron, who if he's healthy and everything like that, obviously be able to take over with Michael Carter or Michael Carter, not Michael Carter. What's his name? Oh
Um,
God, his name's escaping me. But anyways, he's not going to be able to cover LeBron obviously very well. So like I said, that could be a thing. We'll have to see how that goes. But I think this is a bigger deal for the Warriors to win here and just move in as the 7 seed, get some off time, and then roll into the playoffs.
yeah,
But anyways, yeah. So that's pretty much all I got NBA wise. I do want actually before you pull up the picture that you have, if you
yeah.
can actually pull up the White Sox stuff
Ooh,
because
okay.
and I'll give you a second to do that real quick while I finish up with a little bit of NBA talk. Yeah, I can't remember who the second seed is for this, but like I said, I think it's better if the Golden State Warriors win this game because then they'll be able to go into the 7th seed. I think they're a little bit, like I said, I think the Lakers are better handled for Denver. I think that's a better series for Golden State. I mean, obviously Golden State would be a good series regardless, but I think that's a better fit. So,
Gotcha.
all right, and you pulled it up now.
Yep, all good.
All right, so Dylan, it happened again. It happened again. We're having this dumb conversation
I'm
again.
I'm ready for this because I have a hot take
Ah,
on this.
remember when I was like, "Hey, people were mad that the guy hit the home run last year," and you were like, "Why?" And then I was like, "I don't know, Dylan. People are stupid." And then now here we are again, part two, and it's in our own city. It's just like I hate it. I don't understand it. Baseball, do you not want fans? Like, are you trying your best to just not get younger fans? I don't understand it. I really don't. Like, you have this kid, not kid, I mean he's 28 years old, but you have Mercedes who's a rookie who's a player who basically he's bounced around. He's played in minor league systems. He's also played in like independent leagues. And then finally got, drafted into the White Sox organization in 2017 with the Rule 5 draft. The is now, he had one at bat last year, but basically this is his opening of his career in the Major League Baseball, and is playing out of his mind and playing really well for a team that's had a couple injuries that are key. So like and he's, like I said, Andy's younger. He plays to that younger audience and everything like that. And then to come out with this crap, like it's just stupid. And then the other thing that annoys me is the freaking Twins coming back and like throwing at him. Like it's just so stupid. I just don't like. I
Wait,
played
just to
baseball for.
clarify the situation, what exactly happened again?
Oh yeah, okay. To clarify the situation. Basically, Mercedes, the game. I think the White Sox were up like 14-5 or something like that. They were up by like a ridiculous amount of points against the Twins, and they were basically like it was the ninth inning, and I think the Twins put I think they put like a field player as the pitcher, so it wasn't like an actual pitcher, which happens in baseball whenever a team's getting like destroyed. They don't want to waste their bullpen pitching, so they throw like a random player out there that's can pitch. So like for example, the Cubs did it not too long ago with Anthony Rizzo, and they do it every once in a while with Anthony Rizzo, where randomly he's pitching, and
Yeah.
it's basically to save the bullpen. So that happened. That's a situation. They were up by a ton. And basically, it got to a 3-0 count, which is 3 balls, 0 strikes, which generally at a 3-0 count, you basically kind of look at the next pitch usually. And then also in the situation, they argued that he shouldn't have, but basically he swung on a pitch that was coming across the middle of the zone, obviously from a player on the field. So it's not a very hard thrown ball. It's not a normal pitch. And he basically clubbed it out of the park, and it was a massive home run or whatever. And then everybody freaked out. And then Tony La Russa made comments, their manager, who was already getting flack for being an older hire by the White Sox. And, is he going to be able to relate to the younger players, was the conversation that was happening. And then all of a sudden he comes out and basically says like, yeah, I was basically, he said it was like ridiculous. And you can see his brief little quote there. Basically said that he'll be like punished or his punishment will be handled in-house, which is complete crap. Is like none of the players on his team give a crap about that. They shouldn't, especially because they're a lot younger, like of an organization. So they definitely do not care. But it's just stupid. It's just really stupid. Like I don't know how else to say it's stupid. And then so that happened on Sunday, and then we come back basically full circle to yesterday, where the Twins were playing again, and Mercedes came up to bat, and the frickin' Twins pitcher threw behind him, which is basically like throwing at him. It's basically him being like, "Hey, this is in retaliation for the last hit or the home run that you did." It's just stupid. I listen. I played baseball for 13 years. I have no problem with Mercedes swinging the bat on a freaking like in a game in the Major League Baseball. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. Like this whole argument about unwritten rules is bullcrap. Yeah, obviously there's unwritten rules in every sport. Obviously you're not supposed to kick another player in the nuts. Like things like that are like unwritten rules around every sport. But
Right.
the whole crap about how he wasn't supposed to swing is stupid. It's unbelievably dumb. It's ridiculous. Baseball does not want younger fans. We've already talked about previously on previous podcasts. I've gone on rants because I love the sport of baseball. I wish more people would watch it and be involved and be excited about it. But then they pull crap like this where, like how is a casual fan supposed to look at this and go like, oh, a hitter swung the bat and hit a home run and they're mad because he was winning? Like like that's literally
He
the
was
whole
winning
situation.
too hard. It was just like really kind of lame for the other team, you know?
Yeah, like it was just stupid. Like what? Like okay, for example, the Golden State Warriors when they were freaking dominating the league. Do you think if they were up by 40 points, do you think Steph Curry just stopped shooting the ball? Do you think he just went like, "Ah, here you go, guys, you can have the ball"? Like it's just stupid. Yeah, it's not the first time that Larissa has. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just it's so dumb. It's so dumb. I don't enjoy that talk, especially like I said, with all the conversation around LaRusso's hiring being whether or not he could relate to the younger players and everything like that. And then he pulls this kind of crap where I'm just like, do we have to go through this whole unwritten rule crap again? Like, be a better pitcher. I'm sorry. Like, just be a better team. How about that? How about you just play better? How about you just you just acknowledge the fact that you sucked that day and the guy hit a home run. And then the other thing too that people don't think about, and people are like, well, he didn't need to swing the bat and hit that home run. Yeah, okay, well, guys like get contracts off of stats.
Oh yeah.
So like when he hits that home run, that's a home run that's added to his stats, which you can say all you want about if your home runs, your points or whatever come in garbage time. Nobody cares because you know what? Organizations care about that point total when they look at it later. So when, he has, it's an extra home run on his thing, so it's just, they look at that, eventually at the end of the year, they'll look at his production and go, he hit 30 home runs for us,
Yeah.
so
My favorite analogy
it's
to
just,
that is always like, cornerbacks when they should actually bat the ball down instead of picking it off or whatever. It's like,
mhm.
yeah, I understand that, and sure, that makes sense. But again, if there's like an incentive, a good organization will pay out that as incentive if it's like 7 interceptions on a year, whatever. But
Yeah,
it just happens. That's part of it.
that's that's the other thing too is, and I don't really think that this is too much in like Major League Baseball. I don't think you see these kind of incentives in contracts, but there are incentives in sports for players built into their contracts on based on whether or not they produce. So, you have to hit a certain amount of home runs, a certain amount, we expect you to hit a certain amount of home runs and you get a bonus. Like again, and then not only that, but like I said, when you're up for a new contract, if he just doesn't swing on that pitch and doesn't have that extra home run and that extra at bat to go towards his, batting total and everything like that, then, obviously that who knows, that could bring him down a little bit. What if what if that was the at bat that would have brought him, yeah, it's one at bat over the whole season, but like, again, it's just a dumb argument to tell me that he can't hit the ball. Like I said, is Steph Curry going to stop shooting the ball when the other team's down by 40? Like, no, it's not going to happen. He's going to keep shooting the ball. Be a better team. How about that?
Yeah.
Like,
My
I
hot
don't know what to
take
tell you.
on this part is that like I until I saw that it was like a Tony La Russa quote or whatever, is that like who is actually mad at this? Because everywhere that I've seen, and I feel like it was I feel like this is literally like a I feel like this is literally just like manufactured rage for this, because I don't see anyone else really defending not like that he shouldn't have swung or whatever. Everywhere that I've seen articles and like everything, like tweets and everything, have all been about like, oh well, that totally doesn't make sense, like this is ridiculous and this is why baseball is bad and everything. Like, who's actually saying this isn't is my most important like the thing. I don't see it anywhere, which is just funny to me.
Well,
There
the
was like the
problem
commentators, like the announcers, I guess, on like the game. That was
yeah,
the main source.
the announcers do it, which by the way, you can pull up, if you can pull up the next picture, would be the Trevor Bauer, the tweet I sent you, from Trevor Bauer. But
Yeah.
because he has a funny commentary about this, which I agree with. But anyways, it's just, yeah, it's you know what it is it's people within the organizations. It's the oldies that are in, baseball, that actually have power as far as the organizations, and then obviously the announcers, and these people that are like, we got to keep baseball like it was, and respect the game and the old rules. It's stupid. It's utterly stupid. Like, these whole unwritten rules is just dumb. I don't enjoy it about baseball. I really, like I said, I think 100% it's baseball just not wanting to like be good ever. And it's just, and then like I said, and then the big issue with the manager not really supporting the players, which you see in this, little snippet of a quote, but also in the quote that you're about to pull up right here. He says in this quote, he made a mistake, he's young, we handled it, it's important for the Twins and anybody we know, we play sports with sportsmanship. Like, who are you talking to? Who on the Twins? Like, the Twins are pissed off, and their whole being pissed off about it is dumb, because guess what? Just be a better team. How about that? Like, I just don't throw at the player the next day. You don't need to do that. That's stupid. Like, you don't need to be like, oh, we were mad that you guys were beating us so bad. Here's another, we're gonna throw at you. Like, what are we, like, children? Like, just take your beating, like, the bad team you are, and move on. It just, who cares? Like, if I see the Cubs lose 16-1, I don't go, wow, I can't believe they kept putting up runs on us. No, I go, wow, we suck. Like, it's just, it's stupid. So
Yeah, hopefully don't see too many of those stories. Hopefully they get the point, and that kind
yeah,
of just doesn't happen anymore.
it's just so dumb. I hate that we have to talk about this every year, because it's literally every year it pops up, and it's just so dumb. Just like, please, for the love of God, baseball, just stop. Stop trying to get rid of as many young fans as you can.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have this crap in the NFL. We don't have this crap in the NBA. Like, stop telling me that teams, like, again, I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are destroying a team by 30 points. Yeah, they'll start running the ball, but it's not like they're gonna go, we can't score anymore. We just gotta, like, oh, we're about to score a touchdown. Let me throw an interception real quick to give it to the other team. Or let me
Yeah.
take a knee to give it to the other team. That's not how it works. They run it into the end zone and score the extra touchdown. It
Yeah, I was gonna
doesn't.
say, even in your example for that, like they're running because they don't want to have injuries, which is more likely to happen, I feel like, on passing plays. So like, it's not even a
Yeah,
being a nice thing, it's still like conserving yourself.
and not only that, but like, it was a positional player that was throwing the ball to Mercedes when he hit the home run. You put in a positional player because you're trying to save your pitching staff. So when you don't have an actual pitcher in there pitching, That's on you. That's not Mercedes. Mercedes didn't walk up and go, "Hey, can you give me the schmo that was playing in left field as my pitcher?" Like, no, like he walks up expecting to be pitched to, and you throw a rotational or a positional player out there, and then that's what Mercedes did. I have no problem with it. Smack that home run, hit it out of the park, go for the freaking fences. I hope you hit it 550 yards or 550 feet. Hit it as far as possible. I could care less. Be a better team. That's all I gotta say. It's my angry like end of the rant there. It's just be a better freaking team. Stop complaining about how bad you are.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so stupid. Like I said, I don't watch games where the Bulls get blown out by 50 points and go, man, wow, I can't believe they kept scoring on us. That's so unsportsmanlike. No, I go, wow, the Bulls are terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that's, what do you want me to say?
I want you to tell me about this picture and
Okay.
what's going on
Well,
here.
transition. This is another thing that's like slightly annoying too. Is
Oh no, I
so
thought this
this
would be
is
fun.
yeah, okay. So this is another slightly annoying thing because Madison Bumgarner threw a no hitter in 7 innings because he was playing in a doubleheader, and the doubleheaders this year are in 7 inning games. And because it was a 7 inning game, baseball is not counting as no hitter in the official like.
Okay.
Yeah, see the look you just gave me is another reason, Dylan. We're at another impasse where I go, "What are you doing in NBA or Major League Baseball? Like, stop. You could
S-
put an asterisk by it in the record books. That's fine. Be like, this was obtained by a 7th inning game. But give him the freaking thing. He threw a no hitter. What do you want him to do? You're the one that scheduled it. You're the one that made the rule that it's 7 innings. He went out there, pitched 7 great innings on no hit baseball, and it's not going to count in the record books.
So in my dumb ape brain, once again, just relate things to
Mm.
the NFL that's happening, but it just also happens to be timely, is that like now that they're going to a 17 game season, obviously all those records are going to be asterisked or whatever you want to say.
Inflated, yeah.
So do you like, yeah, this is another question, like when do you count the record? Does it stay the same? Do you put an asterisk next to it for everything? Do you put asterisks next to everything beforehand because it was a 16 game season? Like
Well,
it's a
you just
slippery slope for sure.
Well, so as far as the records go, you just basically like it's the end of the 16 game era. So then you pull up now we're in the 17 game era where the records can still be the records, but like yeah, it has a little asterisk next to it, like so if it ends up being one of those where somebody breaks the passing touchdowns in a season record, well you can there's going to be a slight asterisk underneath it as hey, this occurred in the 17 game era, or whatever. So that's how that's going to go. But and it's the same thing for this. Why wouldn't they just put it in the rule books as hey, he pitched a no hitter, and then put a little asterisk next to it that says it was a 7 game doubleheader, or whatever, and nobody's going to care because he would have another no hitter under his belt that he can talk about for the rest of his life. Now he threw a no hitter, but it's not in the record books. He can't point to it. It was technically deemed like an unofficial. That doesn't count in
Yeah,
the
what
record
was it
books.
counted as? That's what my question was.
It just it's like a complete game. Like he pitched a good complete game, but it's not even a complete game because it's 7 innings. So they're not gonna, they basically what they're saying is that basically what they did is they said, hey, great job pitching today. I know that you probably would have pitched really well for the following 2 innings and maybe even no hit for the next 2 innings. But we're just gonna cut it there. And also, by the way, great job. But you're not gonna get like any records. It wasn't a complete game. Like you have to pitch a complete no hitter to get the no hitter. And then he's like, well, but you guys said that it was a 7 game. Say, yeah, but like, you're fine,
It was like
right?
a really, really good game. And they're like, yeah, it was like a perfect game. He's
Yeah.
like, well, no, not technically. It'd have to be 9 innings to be a perfect game. You're like,
Yeah,
okay.
no hitter, yeah.
So what I gather
And
from
just
this is like baseball is just filled, and I've also gathered this from my stats class and anything with data science. Like baseball is just filled with a bunch of stat nerds who have nothing else better to do than just literally crunch numbers in Excel and then figure out shit like this because that's crazy. This stuff
well,
comes up all the time.
and like I said last time, like it just they do such a terrible job of advertising like the actual skill that goes into these games. Like you don't understand. Like I watched there's a sports science from years ago when they were doing like the sports sciences where they actually talked about how fast a baseball comes in and how much time actually elapses like before the hitter hits the ball and how long he has to judge it. Like that's the type of stuff that should be talked about now. Like that's the stuff that you should put out there. Like when, you know, um which actually you could put him on this, put the next one on the screen now. Um Otani, who we're about to talk about. When Otani throws a 98 miles per hour fastball, it would be awesome to see like a quick little clip on your Twitter feed that's like, like a slowed down version of the ball, and it says like, it says like the speed that it left his hand, and then it says like the time that it takes to get to the batter, and you see the ball blow by the batter, and then it says like zero point 0.4 seconds of time it took. Like that's the type of stuff that needs to be seen in order for people to understand how difficult it is to not only hit the ball in baseball, but to also pitch, to also catch, the ball coming from the outfield, catch a line drive. I mean, like people make incredible catches all the time in baseball as far as like line drives, and hits and stuff like that. And they don't like, it doesn't really get talked about as much of an achievement, even though it's incredibly difficult. And the reaction time that you have to have in order to make that catch, in the hot corner at third base or at shortstop is incredible. And they just don't talk about it because it's not one of those things that gets talked about by baseball. But baseball should put these things out there. They should show, when a guy blasts a 430-foot home run, they should have like on an almost, again, when you watch an NFL clip, like sometimes they'll show like how high he jumped or how fast he ran on this
I know
touchdown run.
specifically the commercial that I'm thinking of in my head when you're talking about this, like for the NFL,
Yes.
like where it's like showing, there's like a diagram of where it's going to go, where he's going, how fast he has to go, what's the acceleration to get down the field and do that. Like exactly what you're talking about does exist for the NFL, and like they're on commercials all the time. Like I'm sure you could think of it.
And they do it for the NBA too, when they talk about how like, this is how far Steph Curry has to run on the court, or how far he runs. Because Steph Curry, if you look at it, the statistic is like that Steph Curry runs around on the court the most of any player like in the league,
Yeah.
which again is an incredible achievement. And when you actually see the number of how many miles he's run in a season, it's absurd. And you go, oh my God, I can't believe he ran that far. But again, that's a number that goes, wow, that's shows you how great these athletes are in the NBA. That type of stuff does not happen in Major League Baseball. You don't see that stuff. He just goes, wow, look at this 99 miles per hour fastball. And you're like, great, I've seen like 100 of those a season. So
Or the
like,
Luke
what
Kuechly
am I?
commercial? Remember that? The one where he's like on the sideline? Or no, I'm sorry, not Luke Kuechly. Christian McCaffrey, where it's like he has to
Yeah.
get through this many people or whatever, and then this is how
Yes, and they
fast
show
he has
the
to do it.
probability.
Yeah,
Like they
exactly.
could show, like they could do that for like a slider or something, or like a curveball, and show like here's the probability of this batter actually being able to hit this curveball in how fast it's coming in the break that's on it, and the amount of time he has to adjust to it, and everything, and then end the clip with him blasting a home run off of this amazing curveball, and you go, wow, I can't believe how hard that actually was to hit that. Like it's just that's what I don't understand why they don't do that in baseball. It's so annoying. And I love baseball to death. I'll watch it, I watch it all the time. I love going into games. I'm passionately talking about it because it's a sport that I love, and I love all the ins and outs of it and everything like that. And it's just to be able to watch them basically do the absolute worst possible job in advertising is ridiculous. So, yes, and thank you for the shout out there.
Yeah.
Um
More ranting about
Definitely.
baseball.
Yeah, just jumping right into a fantastic rant about baseball and how annoyed I am with just their advertising and everything. It's just so bad. It's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense why they do what they do. They don't show, like people don't understand how hard it is to hit a 100 miles per hour fastball. Like you see a 100 miles per hour fastball pop on your Twitter feed and you go, great, I've seen 10 of these. Like, I see them all the time, on there. Show me why it's actually important, why I should care about why the ball's coming in. Like, show the amount of time that it takes for a 100 miles per hour fastball to get there and how short of a time that is. And then how much time it takes, like your recognition of, the batter's recognition of the ball and how much time they actually have to decide when to hit it. And I guarantee you're going to get a lot more people going, wow, baseball is actually hard. And what these players are doing is crazy. And instead people just make jokes about how like, oh, baseball players get to sit on a bench for half the game, and it's like, okay, well, that's not entirely true. Like it's just, there's all kinds of stuff that goes into being a baseball player that they don't show.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, you were talking. I didn't even think about that, but you're talking about like maybe like response times or something, or like someone gets blasted and the shortstop like grabs the ball straight out of the air or whatever
Yeah.
because it's blasted at him. Like, how fast do they have to react to that? How fast was it coming off of like off of the bat itself and from the pitcher and everything? Like,
Like they could do that. They could do the sports science of, or they could do like those clips, like you see with players, like I said, when the guy jumps and how much force he's generating and stuff like that in the NBA and in NFL. They could do that for like when Javi Baez runs down a grounder, turns, jumps, and throws the ball across his body on a line drive to the first baseman for a great out. Yeah, the play looks flashy and looks cool, but you see it all the time. Show the actual science behind it. Show how hard he actually had to throw it. Show how much torque he had to generate in his body to actually get that ball there to first base, and how quick his reaction time was in tracking the ball, how he was able to track the ball and then immediately throw. Like, show this type of stuff, and I guarantee people are going to start going, wow, baseball is actually hard. Like,
yeah,
you
like
know,
honest question of what is the MLB's like marketing department like focusing on? Like I
it's
can
just
tell you everyone
nothing.
else, every other major sports league, like what they're trying to do right now. I don't know what they're trying to do at all, except like maintain. And that's it.
No, and they don't show they don't like advertise their like best athletes as well as they should. Like, for example, how much do you know about Otani,
I've
who's on the screen?
literally never heard his name before now.
See, and that's amazing because people are literally calling him the next Babe Ruth. Like, that's how good of a player he is, and you don't know anything about him, even
Well,
though you're a
a good
baseball fan.
example of that too is that I never had, and I could not tell you like if I was shot by Mike Trout what his face was until I had to like Google him randomly because of that
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah, those are the best players in baseball. Like, it's just like, why is Otani not on like ESPN doing interviews on like, talk, like, why is he not being talked about better? Like, yeah, in the sports world and in baseball world, he's talked about because of how great of a year he's having. But like, I just, again, show your best athletes. Especially him being a foreign player, that also plays to the fact that the diversity that you have in your league, like, and you can advertise that. Like, I just don't understand where their advertising department is. And I do want to kind of highlight Otani's just on another level right now, by the way. He's just like, literally, people are calling him like the next Babe Ruth. And it's because if you look at the screen right now, I mean, his hitting, he's leading the major leagues in home runs, and he's also got a 2.0 ERA and is just a ridiculous pitcher. Like, it's absurd. Like, there was actually conversation about him and whether or not he should play pitcher, and even though he's that good of a pitcher, there was questions about whether he should be a pitcher because they won't be able to use him as much hitting, because that's how good of a hitter he is.
Huh.
like like it's just, he's ridiculous, he's absurd. He literally is, in recent memory, as much as I could think, he is probably the closest to like a Babe Ruth, where Babe Ruth pitched the ball but also was a massive home run hitter. That's what
So
Otani is.
has he recently been playing like this just like what this season? Like how long has this been going on for? I want to get a gauge of how they've been dropping the ball.
So I think he's been a part of the Angels for, I think, a year and a half, or like a year to 2 years now.
Okay.
I think he faced some injuries last year. In the year before, I think, was part of the problem, and that's why, or like transition. It was something like that where he basically wasn't able to produce as well because of like injuries, something holding him back. And then now this year he's fully healthy, ready to go, a big part of the Angels, and the Angels suck, by the way, but the he at least is amazing and incredible and worth the price of admission to any Angels game strict whenever he's a part of it, because he's literally playing out of his mind. I mean, he's literally leading the league in home runs. He's an incredible hitter. And then not only that, but he also might pitch out, he might pitch 9 shutout innings and hit 2 home runs. Like, that's what you're getting out of him, is absurd. So,
Like
he's only 26 years old too.
yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't even know that was something that really happened that often. So stamina wise, that's
No,
insane.
it does not happen that often that you see a freaking 26-year-old baseball player who's pitching as well as he is, and then also is leading the league in home runs. That does not happen literally ever.
Well, I
So
wouldn't have known about it because apparently you're doing the advertising for them. So
that's what I'm saying. I apparently need to be a part of the advertising department, because all of these idiots would hear all of the ideas. I literally just, somebody from baseball, please, for the love of God, just listen to this podcast
yeah, reach
and
out to us
just,
with your email.
Honestly, I really should, because they really should just listen to this whole clip when I post it on YouTube to basically point out the fact that they're just absurd and inept at running their organization or running the baseball in general. And like I said, it's sad for me because I'm a huge baseball fan and I love baseball, and that's why I'm talking as passionately about it as I am. So yeah, just frustrating. Just to continue. But yeah, Otani's out of his mind. I wanted to highlight him because one of the brightest and youngest, stars in baseball right now, and is just playing at a level where people are literally comparing him to Babe Ruth because there's nobody else really that like can hit as well as he can and pitch as well as he can. So, like ever in history.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, yeah, there's been fantastic hitters in history. There's been fantastic pitchers, but there really has never been the both since Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
So, and then the next thing too that I kind of want to talk about a little bit, which you've got ready to pull up here, is this new rule that's been going in baseball this year. They're trying it out. I just want to put my little spin on it and my opinion on it. And this is another thing I don't know if you know or have heard, but basically in baseball right now, there is the rule where as soon as extra innings begin, there is a player put on second base, a runner on second base, I should say. I don't know if you knew that this rule existed this year.
No.
Yeah, so basically it's a rule that existed in like softball. They use it and everything. Basically what it is as soon as extra innings start, they put a runner on second base. So the moment you start your hitting, there's a runner on second already.
Okay.
So which is I don't for me, I'm fine with the rule existing as long as it exists I later in the extra innings. I think it should be introduced in like the 11th inning, because as much as I love baseball, or I would say 11th, or I would say 12th inning. I think it should be introduced in the 12th extra inning if we're still playing extra innings. Because in the 10th and 11th, I think is fine to play regular baseball like normal. Like they do in every other sport, play a little bit extra. But even soccer or hockey, sometimes they'll go to in specific rules and everything like that. They'll jump to um what's it called penalty kicks in soccer, football for English listeners, and then also in hockey they do shootouts and everything. I would love for baseball to just do regular 10 and 11th inning, and then if we're still in this by the 12th inning, then yeah, absolutely, without a doubt, put in a runner on second. And if it goes to the 13th inning, put a runner in third, for God's sake. I'm like it's one of those where like I love baseball, and people always joke about like, oh, we got free baseball coming to you live, with extra innings. But it's also one of those where like, listen, if we start getting into like the 13th inning, like for the love of God, just let it end. Like in the stadium, last call was like 7th inning. Everybody's sobering up at this point. Nobody wants to be there anymore. Not even the players want to be there. I don't want to be watching a 4 hour, 4.5, 5 hour game. Just call it a day. Put a runner on third. Give him a lead off. He can't be picked off. I don't even care. Just make it so that way it ends. It's like it's my same thought that I have in NFL, where the NFL likes to do this whole overtime and then call it a tie. I'm like, don't like I would rather, instead of a tie, I would rather have like, all right, let's take our field goal kickers, line them up at the 30, and whoever can kick the furthest field goal wins. Like, I'm just like, I don't care at this point. Decide a freaking winner. Like, you have all these all these different combinations you could do. College football finds a way to find a winner. Why can't the NFL do it? Literally the National Football League. So that's how I feel about the rule. And this little poll right here is basically where they asked if the rule having a runner on second was going to stay past 2020. And obviously 73% of the people said no, probably because 73% of the people don't like it. Like I said, I just don't like it because I don't think it makes sense to put it as early as like the first extra inning played. I think they should extend it to where it pops up in like the 12th inning. And then I don't think people are going to really care, because at the 12th inning, the game should be decided by now. And like I said, teams don't want to be out there anymore because they don't want to be playing a 4.5 hour game and then have to go to play another game tomorrow. The pitching staff's already exhausted at that point. They've already, now you're starting to pull, from your bullpen that you wish you didn't have to, or you might have to put a pitcher in who we were trying to give a break and now he has to come in, because it's just things like that can happen. So it just, in my opinion, extend it to where put the runner on second in like the 12th inning, and then if it comes to the 13th inning, put a freaking runner on third, load
Yeah.
the bases in the 14th inning, just make it end. Like I don't want to see a
At
17
least for
inning
like regular
like.
season, like maybe change it up for the playoffs or whatever, but like at least regular season. Come on.
Well, playoffs, they should really just let them play. I mean, you only
Yeah.
play you don't play that many games as far as the regular season goes. So but in the regular season, you play an entire season, it's fine if you throw a
Right.
freaking extra runner on second or third in like the 11th, 12th, and 13th innings. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I totally
So,
agree there. Reason to make it more complicated.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
So
let's transition over to the NFL, starting with my first question, which I'll pose to you first before I give my little tidbit. When do you think Justin Fields will start? That's my question I'll pose to you, and then I'll give you my tidbit.
damn, that would have been a great question for when I had the schedule graphic up. I mean,
Well, we'll talk about the schedule in a moment. You can pull that up in a moment if you want.
yeah, that's what I was kind of going off of for reference because I know they have a. I mean, it's not an easy start by any chance, by any means.
I actually have like a strong opinion on where I think he'll start, and so I'm curious to see what you think.
I'm just going off of past precedent of like Lennon starting, was it 4 games, maybe 3 games, whatever it was, and then
Yeah, I think
going
it was
in.
3 games.
I'm looking at the Raiders game right now. That's pretty much being the reset point if anything happens. I think like post divisional game against the Lions, that's a loss. If it's a win, whatever. Obviously, if it's more of a loss, I think there's going to be a quarterback change. But yeah, I feel like things start to change 4 games into the season. If they're 2-2, they might just stick with Dalton for a little while longer. If you're coming out of that stretch of going into the Rams, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Lions, which like none of those teams are cakewalks anymore, really.
Pull up
If
the
you come out of
schedule,
there
by the
one
way, so you
three,
can
what's
pull
up?
up the schedules. Pull up the schedule while you're talking, so that we can see
Yeah, yeah. So I could tell
and
you
talk.
exactly what I'm pretty much going off of, but um, yeah,
Also, real quick before we finish that conversation, um, yeah, I don't know what you've heard, but it sounds like from what I gather that they like Justin Fields and that he's performing very well. From what I've heard from camp is that he was picking up things quickly as far as like, a lot of times you're worried about whether you call a play and then the guy doesn't isn't able to recite it, a couple plays later or something like that, or is missing easy things like handing the ball off, snaps and everything. It seems like Justin's fitting in very very nicely with the team and has like there's no issues so far at all. Which is good.
yeah,
That's obviously I didn't think there was going to be, but it's just nice to hear that everything's going smoothly. But anyways, now that you've got the schedule pulled up, where, like I said, where do you think with this where he started? Do you think first off, let me start by saying, do you think he starts game one? Let's put it that way. Let's get that out of the way first.
no, no. I
Okay. I
as much as I
agree.
would like that to happen, I can't see it happening, especially against the Rams, which are like loaded.
I agree with you. I think that that would be not a great start against a team that was the best defense last year on freaking Sunday Night Football. I don't think that would be a good place to start him.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I agree with you. Not week one. So now that we've gotten that question out of the way, when do you think he'll start realistically?
Wait a second. Is this schedule correct? Hold on. Oh, this might be an old schedule, isn't it?
Oh,
Am I
is this the
crazy?
previous schedule?
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was like, wait, where is the Rams game itself?
Oh, I did a dumb. I don't know why that was. I thought I swear to God, I sent you the right schedule. My bad.
No, that's
That's
fine.
my.
I could
That's
pull it.
on me. I don't. I sent you the schedule. Holy crap! Steph Curry is absurd. Real quick, since again we're watching this live, the Golden State Warriors are up 13 points right now on the Lakers at half, and Steph Curry is doing Steph Curry things.
Yeah, I know.
I
Looks
The
like it's
shot he
gonna
just
pull away.
made at the end of the half is stupid. You basically have to pick Steph Curry up at half court, and that's ridiculous.
Oh, I'm actually getting to halftime right now, so that's actually coming up for me right now.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, well then by all means watch this last shot because it's stupid.
side
Can't
reaction. Oh,
believe it.
okay, yeah, getting on 3 seconds left.
Literally, I can't. Literally, literally he goes through three people trying to cover him, and then just fades away, drains the three, and then just runs into the locker room like,
Put him
"Yep,
up
regular
13.
day." God, I don't know if I'm ready yet to say that he's the greatest like score shooter of all time, but man, is he making a really good argument for it over his career. When his career is over, I if he continues like this, man, he definitely will be. He'll have every statistics, every stat, and he'll definitely be the best shooter of all time. Uh, and that's not disrespecting other shooters like Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Larry Bird. Um, but yeah, it's just absurd what I was just watching right there. You were able to find the regular schedule, by the way.
Yeah, let me throw that up very quickly here, and I can
God, I
go.
can't believe I sent the wrong schedule. I just can't read apparently. 2020 to
It was
2021.
the
Yeah,
first one
just
that popped up on Google, so I get it
see that's
for sure.
just me being dumb. Just can't. It was just so exciting. It even had a slot that said who's gonna win, and I was like, oh, my dumb like you're dumb again. The dumb ape brain was like, yeah, that sounds great. Let me put that in there.
Okay,
All
there
right,
we
now
go.
that we have the real
This one's the
schedule,
correct one, at least the
now
first
that we have
12
the
weeks.
yeah, now that we have the correct schedule on on the screen, what do you think is the realistic? And you can talk through it. When do you think is the realistic game that he takes over?
Okay, and also thank you for pointing that out in chat. I don't know what chat wasn't updating in the background for some reason, but
Oh yeah, he did point it out real quick.
you think the first game against Green Bay. Okay, and that's what we're looking at
Heck, see, okay,
late in
go.
the
So
season.
you talk your talk.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, pretty much what I was going off of before. Rams, I think we all agree, same reason. Defense too strong. Brights or the lights are a little bit too bright to start out with. Not that that's an issue. The Bengals again, they're not. These aren't like joke teams. Like I don't even think the Lions are going to be a joke this year. They're not going to be as bad as they were last year. That's for sure. Obviously, the Browns are really good now, and yeah, I feel like if you're going to the Raiders, then that's kind of like a turning point. You've played 4 games to start off with. If you're sliding 1-3, maybe it's time to pull the plug and switch it over a little bit. I guess it really depends on what the offense looks like and if it's like a defensive issue. But I don't know. I feel like going to Las Vegas, you get there, you get a chance to. Oh, yeah, I see the Packers game is next. Now I see why you say that. Not that late in the season. But yeah, that gives you a game to actually like warm up and get used to the playing in the regular season, and then go into the Packers, which obviously is going to be a much more scrutinized game. And then the Super Bowl champions right after that. Like you enter a really tough stretch, but you give yourself equal amount of games. So you give Dalton 4, you give Fields 4. Obviously, you don't think you're switching back, but you can have a good comparison to put everyone against, because then you go into the bye week, and then it's the Ravens, Cardinals, Lions, Packer. Like that's not an easy schedule. Like there's no part of this where I'm just like, oh yeah, you could just let them, screw around for like 3 or 4 games. They'll be fine. It's tough. So I
So
think the Raiders makes the most sense.
where he'll start.
Where he will start if he's given an opportunity. Yeah, like I don't know. It's so hard to predict what the offense will look like at that point. But like that's if it was gonna happen, I think it would happen then. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
What about
I
you?
am going to go out and basically say that I wholeheartedly agree with him in saying that it's going to be Green Bay. And the reason why I full-heartedly agree with him and I think that that's it is because I think what happens if you look at the schedule, I think we lose to the Rams. I think that's a given with Andy Dalton as our quarterback. We lose to the Rams. I think then we go to the Bengals and I think we win against the Bengals. Now the Bengals game is going to be an interesting one because if we lose, that's an embarrassing loss because it's the Bengals. I mean, granted, yeah, they have Joe Burrow and everything like that coming back from injury, but Joe Burrow is supposed to be expected to be ready for game one, but he's not going to be 100% probably or up to game speed uh, by the time game two rolls around against the Bears. So even if that would be an embarrassing loss, I think that would be the indicator right there. I think fans would start clamoring immediately for Justin Fields to start if we lost to the Bengals. Now, I do think though that we're most likely going to win. So I think right there you're 1-1. Then I think you look at Cleveland. I think you lose against Cleveland. So now I think you're 1-2. Then I think you go to the Lions. I think we beat the Lions. So now you're 2-2. Now, if you look at the team, depending on again how those games go, if he plays absolutely poorly like Mike Glennon did, well then everybody's going to be like, listen, you have to go to the other quarterback. We can't watch this bad football anymore. But if Andy Dalton's playing like serviceable and they go 2-2, I think this is right here. I think the Raiders game is where you see the tide turn. And I think it's because if we go into a stretch of games, like you said, where it's the Packers, Tampa Bay, 49ers, and then the Steelers, and we're 2-3 after losing to the Raiders, I cannot see Andy Dalton sticking around after that. Like I can't see Andy Dalton going into the Packers game if we're 2-3, starting that game like without the fans losing their minds.
Yeah.
And you also have to realize too that like Matt Nagy wants Justin Fields to take over as quickly as possible too, because he wants him to finally run his offense, so that way Matt Nagy can show why he shouldn't be fired at the end of the year. So like that's another thing that's playing into this too. But I think we win against I think we lose to the Rams, win against the Bengals, lose to Cleveland, win against the Lions, and I think you're 2-2 going into the Raiders game. And I think Justin Fields, if Andy Dalton wins the Vegas game well, I think if he does well, like if I think he plays well and wins that game, he's going to start in the Packers. But I think if he plays poorly, depending on how bad he plays in that game, will depend on whether or not he gets benched that game for Justin Fields, or if the change happens in the off, or like in the in between week. So I think that's where it happens. I think if we lose to the Raiders, and Andy Dalton doesn't play well, then people will go, listen, Justin Fields needs to take over. But I think if Andy Dalton loses is playing awful, like throws 2 interceptions in the first half, then I think you could see Justin Fields come out at halftime and play, and then he would start the Packers game. Either way, I think that's the most likely start for him, is the Packers game. Now, I think, like I said, you could see him start the Tampa Bay game, because I think if Andy Dalton wins the Raiders game convincingly and we're 3-2 going into the Packers week, I think he'll start against the Packers, because there's really not an argument you could make as to why he wouldn't, depending on how the losses were previously against the Browns and Rams. Like if we're competitive in those games and we lose them, then people aren't going to freak out as much. But I think that's the indicator. I really think that the Raiders game is the indicator. I think Andy Dalton starts that game, and I think he starts it with a 2-2 Bears team. And depending on how well he does in that game, determines whether or not he's going to start against the Packers or Justin Fields.
And I think regardless of when he starts, I think we can both agree that he's not, I mean, you're not going back at that point. Like that's the most important point. Just like you have to decide when it's going to happen.
People also need to realize that what Andy Dalton is there for is not only is he obviously he's a bridge quarterback, but Andy Dalton's basically what we're hoping Andy Dalton is, which is what they were kind of hoping Mike Glennon would be for Trubisky. Is basically Matt Nagy. It's not like Justin Fields is not going to walk into game 1 of the regular season knowing the entire offense by the back of his hand. Like it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen realistically with any quarterback. So what you're hoping Andy Dalton does is hold off having Justin Fields come in for like a good, at least 4 or 5 games. So that way Justin Fields has the time to see the offense, be in the film room post offense, breaking down games, and see how the offense works and learn it better. So that way, then when he walks in, he's not walking in with like a basic understanding of the offense. He's walking in with like at least a more advanced understanding than if he had started game 1. So I think that's also what you're hoping Andy Dalton is. So that's why I think there's also a comfort level there too, where, if Andy Dalton wins against the Raiders convincingly, like I think depending on how Justin Fields is in the offense, like how well he's learned it, or how well Matt Nagy thinks he's learned it, is going to depend on, or going to determine or help determine whether he thinks Justin Fields should start as soon as possible, or if they should hold off as long as they can. That also is going to play a role into it too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
But like I said, I think, again, I agree with him. I think the Packers is where he's probably going to start. And I think it's probably because we're going to lose to the Raiders. And I think Andy Dalton's not going to play well against them. And I think we're going to go into the Packers game 2-3, and the entire city just screaming Justin Fields' name at the top of their lungs, and he's going to start.
Yeah.
So.
And so the only thing we really have to go off of is anything that came out of like rookie camp, which was like pretty much nothing right now, at least.
Now, if you listen to because I actually listened to his press conference, I listened to Tevin Jenkins, I listened to Newsom's, I listened to Fields' about it. Basically, just can't, like, from listening to every one of them, even Thomas Graham's, I listened to his. it's literally just them basically saying like, yeah, it was fun to learn some of the offense and get out there. Matt Nagy basically was talking about how he was happy to get out there with the guys finally on the last day. And that was it. Like that was basically it. He was like, he
What
said
an
as far as
absolute
just,
tease to not be able to go out there and get like screwed over by the
oh, I
Zoom
know.
conference and
I said, I
stuff.
was like, what a Chicago Bears thing to happen where Matt Nagy gets this new quarterback that he finally wanted. It's his guy, and he freaking can't see him in the rookie camp because of his, COVID exposure. I
Gotta
was
wait a
like, that
little
is
bit
such,
longer.
yeah, that's such a Bears thing. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so that's I out of training camp, you basically heard like all the things that you think you would normally hear. And then like I said, him like hammering Andy Dalton as the starter, he probably doesn't need to reiterate it as much. They should probably just let it be a competition. But I also can see that they're probably just not wanting to like throw Justin Fields out on Sunday Night Football into the fire on game one. So that's why they're basically trying to hammer home that Andy Dalton's going to be the starter from day one. So,
Yeah.
but
Which I don't know if you saw that. Like, I'm just going off a couple things that people are talking about from like rookie camp. Trying to pull up this video that they did on the side. Just lots of good stuff. Pretty much just quotes. That's about it.
yeah,
Quotes. A couple of little videos that are going to be there. I saw that like Justin Fields is already correcting like a couple of rookies and a couple of people like on routes and everything. I saw something about that, but like in a nice way. Like everything that I've seen so far that obviously that they've released, he just like exudes confidence compared to Trubisky. Kind of just like being happy, not happy to be there, but I don't know. It wasn't believable enough, I guess, is the best way to put it. And I
well,
feel like from
it just
everything from him, it is.
well, you just never heard the things that you hear from Justin Fields. Like I've already heard multiple. Like my favorite quote by Justin Fields was the whole thing where he basically said, "If you're not playing for a starting job, you shouldn't be here." Like I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's what I want. Like I want I want my quarterback, the captain of my team, the face of my organization, to say, like, listen, if you ain't trying to be a starter, like if you're not trying to do that here, then you need to leave. Like that's not what we're here about. And the rookie stepping up and saying that is amazing. Like that's what I want to see.
Yeah,
So
exactly. See if I can get this on the side. Not Chatterino, but there we go. I thought it was just cool. It's just some of the Bears like new. The Bears had a really good social media team even last year. They just were plagued with the fact that they were trash, for the most part. But like,
yeah, now they have like the shiny new toy that like is
oh
going to save
yeah,
the organization.
exactly. You know, everyone in that department is like hyped up because now they actually get to do something for being around there as long as they did.
Yep.
I can just see this part. Let's see this video.
Listen, I'm hyped about it. I'm excited. I mean, obviously, Justin Fields is the most talented quarterback we may have ever had in our organization ever. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to actually, and the fact that he was also like a lot of people for a while, people don't realize a lot of people for a while were considering him as if he was like, like he could be even better than Justin, like Trevor Lawrence. Like that was a conversation for a little bit there happening. Was that, well, I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is 100% a lock for one. And
yeah,
then like the whole draft process happened, and again, it's you can also play the factor that he's a black quarterback, and that always plays a role where they always get, obviously Zach Wilson doesn't get get talked about the same way that Justin Fields does. That's how it always goes. So like the whole draft process happened and Justin Fields started to fall, but I'm all for him falling because now he's here to save the organization. So thank God. Drafted, to Chicago. I watched a lot of his film.
yeah,
And I definitely like what he brings to the table. He's a guy that can return the ball on kick return, but he also has the ability to work out of the backfield, catching the ball, running route, being able to run. Like I said, oh, that was Borum with the pass set. My bad. Yeah, he looks good. I'm, when I think Borum, like people were saying, I think it was his pass coverage was an issue. Like people were questioning his. I think that's what it was. I'm all for Borum potentially getting the start at right tackle, which you saw him just getting uh film right there. He's competing with a Fetty who hasn't really ever played well at right tackle in his career. So not a really. I think he's going to win that. I think we start with two rookie tackles, which I think people need to realize too. If that's happening and we're starting with two rookie tackles, like they're talented and they're going to be good moving forward. but you need to give them a little bit of growth. Like there's going to be a growing period. Like Tevin Jenkins, as happy and as excited I am for him, like he's not Quentin Nelson. He's not coming out of college like playing, on a whole nother level. Like so we'll we'll as as the chancellor said, we'll watch it with great what is it? Great
with great with
encouragement.
watch your career with great interest or
Great
whatever it
interest.
is.
There it
Yeah.
is. That's the goal. Yeah. That's how I feel about both of them. I'm excited for both of them. I'm just excited. This was like an A+ draft finally by the Bears, and not only was it an A+ draft, but it like addressed incredible needs that we had. So like I'm excited.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
that's great. I love stuff like this. It's fun to drink the
yeah, I
Kool-Aid on
should have.
stuff like this and not just like accept it's going to be the same, same stuff every year. It's fun. I mean, half the things in sports is just getting hyped about stuff, not the actual product itself. So it's just kind of fun to look forward to it. And they're obviously gonna have a bunch. I mean, this is only rookie minicamp. This is nothing. Once we actually get into OTAs and they actually let like press and media back onto like the field and all that stuff. I mean, rookie camp, everyone was so desperate for like media reports, snippets, anything of like the rookies. There was people just like, oh wow, that Justin Field pass, perfect. Oh, the second one, it was good too. The 23rd one, and it was a little bit off target, but 22 out of 23 of the whole camp, they were perfect. I mean, like, sports journalists are down bad, like with
Yeah.
just like content. That's what people are looking for, and it's funny, but it's just like I'm the one reading it, so I
Oh yeah.
guess at the end of the day,
I'm here for it.
yeah, it's on me. It's
But
like perfect passes.
I just don't like the other thing too is like, and they've talked about it in the media. They're like, oh, thank God the organization finally got a quarterback, with being as starved as they have been. Like, people do not realize how, like, I mean, we were talking about how we might like boycott the season because of how like
Yeah,
just annoyed we were with the organization. Like, we were literally going to have Andy Dalton as our starter for 17 games, and I was not going to watch 17 games of Andy Dalton throwing interceptions. I just couldn't do it. I was like, you're gonna have to kill me. Like, I just can't. I can't watch. Like, I'll be on the couch, but I'm gonna have to gouge my eyes out at one point, so that way
yeah.
I can be there in spirit, but not watch, because it was gonna be so bad. And then this draft happened, and I just every bit of hope and excitement that
The
was
Fire Nation
there
attacked.
is
Everything
back.
changed.
It's back and stronger than ever, because I feel way more like when Trubisky got drafted, everybody went, Trubisky, that's an interesting pick. Like, didn't really hear much about him in the draft process. Like, I didn't really know much about that guy. But like when Justin Fields gets picked, you're like, holy crap! Like, that's the guy that we've been hearing about for like 2 years. Like, he was like the number two, maybe even better than Trevor Lawrence guy, and actually is on our team. Like, that's the excitement that's occurring, and that's why our jerseys are on the way, Dylan. They're being shipped as we speak, and I'm excited, and I can't wait. I'll be the day that I get that jersey in the mail, I will wear it on the podcast. The next one that happens.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
well, 100%. I got the blue one, by the way. I got the blue Justin Fields jersey. My dad got the white one, and my mom got the orange one. So,
I'd be blue one all the way. I'm not a huge fan of
yeah,
all colors.
I'm a blue guy. I had it doesn't fit me anymore because I've just you know, put on some nice blubber for the winter. But it doesn't fit me anymore, so I gave it to Alyssa, but it was like a nice white, like Walter Payton, like like fancy jersey. But I don't know, I'm just not a huge fan of the white. That's not as aesthetically pleasing to me as the
Yeah,
blue. And
exactly.
I'm not even literally that great of a fan of the orange. I don't mind the orange at all. I like it. It's fun. Because it only happens like once or twice a season, but I definitely love the blue. It's awesome. It's just one of the greatest, like,
It's the
old,
classic. You can't go wrong with
yeah,
it.
don't need to you don't fix what's broke or what's not broke, Dylan.
Yeah. Orange is their best?
So,
No, banned. No.
no.
No, stop it. That's
This is
not their
this
their
is the
default.
what okay.
Come
What
on.
okay, what Cardinals jersey do you like best? Let me see this. Is it like which one do
Oh.
you prefer? Is it the black, the red, or the white? I like the black, by the way. Just throwing it there.
For me?
For the Cardinals.
Oh, oh. Well, this would be an interesting answer then. I mean, I'm a
Yeah.
fan of like the Bears like throwbacks right now, especially.
I do like, yeah, I do love the throwbacks. I loved the little orange stripes away
Away.
if I had to choose.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. That's what I feel like that's what I picture Larry Fitzgerald in. Like whenever I think of like the Cardinals, like back in um like in the era when they were like Kurt Warner and him. That's what I think of, which is
Yeah.
fine. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I guess whenever the Bears put on the orange, it's like, oh boy, this is a win. Here we go.
Whether it's a rookie.
You're like, I don't care what's gonna happen. It's gonna be some ridiculous upset. But
Right.
no, I'm a blue guy, so I just right. That's what I'm getting, and that's what I've got in the mail. So let's can't wait for that. But anyways, yeah, I'm just Justin Fields in this draft was just an incredible igniting of our love for the city again, and I can't wait. So
They had to get him because they'll have you watching every game, even when he's not starting, because you know they got that in the back of their pocket, like ready to pull that out. And now you want to know, like, okay, if he's gonna come in, what's he coming into? So,
yep.
Dolphins had a streak of upsets in orange in the mid thousands back in the day. Yeah.
Mm.
Hey, the
You know what?
Dolphins uniforms are nice.
I do want to say though, real quick, let's just have a little segment appreciation, and we can all pull up our favorites. Can you pull up the Miami Heat
The Vice
jerseys?
jerseys.
Yeah, the Vice jerseys. God, those are my favorite jerseys in all of like sports. I just love those jerseys. I freaking love them.
God, they made
I
so
don't
much
know.
money off of them.
Oh God, they're so cool. I love those jerseys. I love the colors and everything. I just my favorite jersey. What would you can pull that up and show that, and then you can pull up your whatever your favorite jersey
Do you
in
like?
sports.
Do you like the black one? Oh, whoops. There we go. Let me
Which one?
see. Let me see. There's two different kinds with Vice jerseys.
I don't think it's the black one. It's the blue and
Yeah,
it's like
let's
the blue and
see.
pink. Those are okay.
These
kind
ones
of
are
well,
okay.
I mean they're pretty
Is it
cool.
this one?
Yes, that's the one I love.
Okay.
I love that. I also like the one that they're showing the players wearing, but I do love this one's my favorite. Such a great jersey.
Wow, that's a big high
All
def
right, Dylan.
picture.
Dylan,
Yeah.
Dylan, why have you blocked me? Why have you blocked me so?
There we go. Take you away.
There we go. This is my jersey right here. This is my favorite jersey in all of sports. I don't know what it is, but I just love the blue and the pink. I just love it. I love the Miami like thing. It just fits. Like nothing, no jersey better like represents the city it's from than this jersey. Like it's just literally this is Miami. Like this jersey encompasses Miami in this color scheme, the writing, the freaking fonts, like everything about it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to
I
think like.
I actually strongly considered getting like a Justin or a Jimmy Butler jersey.
Oh yeah.
I still might. I might also get like I might get a throwback player too. Like I was thinking of I think Hardaway would be a fun one.
Okay. Yeah.
Tim Hardaway. Or obviously you could do what's his name? The center. Oh, it's gonna bother me. Can't think of it. So you got a link for his?
Oh, let me pull that up. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah, click yours through first so that way we can see yours.
Yeah, I'll throw mine up. Like I can't like an overall jerseys. I'm trying to think like at least Bears. Like I like these, especially when you see how
Adebayo.
vibrant it
I'm trying
is.
to think of who's the real quick if you want to help me out here. Who's the chat? Who's the other the like Hall of Fame center? He was played with God, what's his name? It's gonna bother me. He was really good. I think he played with Hardaway in those days. It's gonna bother me. But anyways, yeah, I like these jerseys too, the orange and blue. I do like those throwbacks. They're fun.
Yeah, they are. They could be quite gorgeous. Now there's a there's a lot
Oh, it's a litany of
on
jerseys right there.
here. This is unfair because it's not specific kind. Here I could bring up like 4 at a time and then show that.
I could bring up 4 at a time.
Yeah, that's the compromise. I like the black ones by far, especially for Cardinals
Oh,
colors.
okay, okay.
So
I don't really
like,
know how I feel teams trying to do gray. I don't know what it is, but I'm not a fan of that.
yeah, gray looks like it was unfinished, like the draft version of what they were trying to do. These ones,
Yeah,
great. These ones are wins all around.
Dylan's all for the black.
Yeah, exactly. I think those ones look really good along with, let's check this guy out. Okay, looks like there's more blacks along here, so I'll just
I do like them. I just like black because like for jerseys because it like ascends to then like whatever color you pair with it is like always looks highlighted and good.
yeah.
It just depends on how much of the other color you throw in. Like
Yeah.
that's really where what makes the black jerseys good or bad. That's what it depends on.
No,
So
absolutely.
I've always been a fan of the Cardinals jerseys. I've always liked them. I've always thought like even the solid white is fun. I just like the white and red. Just something about like white with red. I don't know, just looks clean to me. Like it's just a clean jersey.
Oh yeah, it's super visually pleasing as well.
Oh yeah. We gotta talk about
I know,
that.
I did. Tessa reminded me to
I
talk about
almost
this.
holy crap! I almost forgot. That's amazing.
Where's this?
I can't wait.
Wait, who took this picture? I don't even remember.
Dude.
No, not like
Okay,
that. I mean, like, I
this
don't
is
like. I
gonna be
just
a
saw the background of the TV and I was like, who
this is gonna be
took
a whole
this
story.
picture?
Oh, here we go. Dylan podcast story time. Let's
Okay,
go.
this is gonna be hard to fit in, TBH, but I am technically in there, so.
I see you, Dylan. All right, so this is a Dylan and this is the welcome to the first edition of Dylan and Dylan story time. So me and my girlfriend, Dylan and his girlfriend were in Madison, Wisconsin all together, and we drunkenly decided after we okay, so let's set the scene. We were at a bar having a couple drinks. We're all vaccinated. We were all sitting, at a table, having a couple drinks. We were trying some beers and everything. Well, then all of a sudden, all of the waiters in the place that we were at changed shirts, and we were confused. So we asked the waiter why they all changed shirts. Basically, told us that there's a soccer team that was actually made like a year and a half ago that is playing tonight, and it's their first home game. So
Yep.
then we immediately, being the fact that we had no plans for the night whatsoever, we're like, well, let's go to this game. Like this sounds great. So we go to this game and it was amazing. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. We sat in the vaccinated section, which was interesting as well. And we were all able to so I was the sober driver, so I just had a couple seltzers, nothing crazy. But they continued to drink and we watched 92 minutes of back and forth, no score whatsoever, just crazy like opportunities happening, just like headers that were just missing, great saves, great defensive efforts, like just shots that you're like, oh, I can't believe that missed kind of thing. And then in the 93rd minute of the freaking game, in extra time, off of a rebound, the guy shot it at the net, goalie saved it, off the rebound, hit it in, boom, game winner. Amazing, fantastic game, awesome game. Great coached game by the coach of the Madison Flamingos is the team, by the way. They play in League Two. I didn't know that the Major League Soccer had expanded to develop a League One and League Two. League Two being the lowest league, League One being the next highest, and then MLS is above that. For anybody that's not familiar with overall soccer structure as far as leagues go, typically over in Europe, for instance, if you look at the English league, there's the Premier League, there's League One, League Two. If you're in the Premier League, you're in the highest league. If you're in League One, you're in the second highest league. League Two, the third highest. Basically, the way it goes is that you're hoping if you're playing really well in League Three that you can get recognized by a team in the Premier League or League One and go up and yada yada yada. And then there's also yes, there is. There's such a Madison team name. We'll talk about it in a moment. But anyways, to finish explaining it, there's also things like relegation, I think is what it is, where if a team in the Premier League is terrible, they might get relegated to League One, and then the best team in League One gets moved up to the Premier League. So it's fun because it keeps the competition flowing. Every team has to stay good, otherwise you might get knocked out. And then if you get knocked out, you lose the esteem and the money and all that comes with being in the upper league. So that's the fun part. So MLS developed this, and now there's two teams there's two leagues underneath MLS, League One and League Two. This team happened to be in League Two. They were created in 2019. They were called the Madison Forward Flamingos, or Madison Forward FC, I think it was.
Yep.
Which the Flamingos is their logo. Incredible atmosphere at the game. Everybody that was there was awesome. Everybody was into it. Everybody was super exciting, and that's what makes those games exciting, is when everybody that's there is into it. And then, so not only that, but what we're showing you now is me. So I just happened to wear a pink shirt on this day, by the way. This is also just
Perfect.
crazy. I happened to wear a pink shirt on this day with this team, which their colors are pink and blue, hence the Flamingos. And one, you just saw how I love the Miami Vice shirt. Well, now we're looking at a team that's literally the Miami Vice shirt, but on steroids. So I'm like incredibly excited for this. And I like definitely want to get gear at some point for it, just because I've saw some of the shirts and jerseys and kits, by the way, soccer jerseys called the kit, and kits that people were wearing, and they were awesome. And the color schemes are fantastic. And the way that they made the jerseys were incredible. So I absolutely love it. But anyways, yeah. So then we watch this game, and it's 93 minutes of just, or 92 minutes of just crazy back and forth, amazing defense, both coached very well teams. And then all of a sudden in the 93rd minute, off a rebound, game winner. The crowd went insane. I jumped up, and we were jumping up and hugging each other. Like, it was just an incredible atmosphere. And then not only that, but shout out to the people sitting in front of us. The person that was sitting in front of us was the coach's wife. So that was wild too.
Yeah, exactly.
And then yeah, and then this is their mascot that's there. I guess this is like how it's just the whole thing is amazing. And but yeah, essentially we sat behind the coach's wife, and she, of course, she was excited about it because it's literally her husband's coaching the team. And so, and then we were hyped about it, so we were all hyped together. And then not only that, but then the other woman that she was with showed us that somebody that was at home that they knew was watching the game had taken a picture on the screen of where they were sitting, and you can see the people in front of us. The pink woman is the one that showed us the photo. It's clear just me on the screen, right there. And then, Dylan
like
got
part
Mike
of my
Wazowski'd a
face.
little bit.
Yeah.
Dylan got Mike Wazowski'd a little bit and got shown a little off camera. You can see he's still there. He's on screen. The best part is, though, is there's probably frames where you're on screen. It's just, this is the frame that she sent. But
Yeah, I gotta pull
anyway,
up the VOD later on to rewatch the game, see if we got any more shots.
yeah. So anyways, this is where we were at. It was fun. It was amazing. It was our first sporting event outside of COVID and everything that's been happening since. So first sporting event in like a year and a half, 2 years now. So incredible watch, and it was worth the price of admission. It was only like what,
It was like
$20 a ticket or something.
It was absolutely worth it.
It was so much fun. So much fun. And it just, the crowd was crazy. The band never stopped playing. The fan section never stopped going crazy. They actually, after when the guy hit the game winner, if you remember, they like freaking knocked down the advertisements on accident because it was like so wild. It was so much fun. Such a great experience. Everybody, please go to those games if you're in Madison, or just go to one just for fun, because it was so much fun, and it was a great time. And
yeah, everyone was there for like a good time too. Like the energy in the stadium was awesome. Everyone around us was having a really fun time. It was like fun to be in that environment, just like, having a couple back and forths, like the opposing team and everything, and a couple of like call outs, all that. It was just fun to be in like in a live sporting environment. And also just, I could barely remember what I was going through and saying, but I was being annoying and everyone else in front of us was still having a really good time. So everything I remember of it, it was a fantastic time. And yeah, again, we just lucked out because we're a 3-minute walk from this, having zero idea, one, that there was even a stadium there, and then two, that there was a game happening within like 20 minutes. So just a weird stroke of luck.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was literally just the perfect happening. And then we accepted it was like the universe pointing to like, hey, this will be fun. And then us being like, yes, we accept that universe. We will go to this game. And we did. And it was amazing. And it was fun. And I had an awesome time. And I absolutely loved every second of watching this game. And
feed the cows. Yeah. Go and feed the cows.
Oh, feed the cows there. There's the cow, which who is like the Bessie, like Messi, is what its name was.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, that cow was the one that was it was a calf when the team started, and now it's a full grown cow, and now it has its own calf, which is also at the game. So this is just everything you could want, everything you can want in a game. And not only that, but like the other thing too that struck me is when you go to games, a lot of times like fans are there. You can tell when fans are there for just just that game, you know, like
Yeah.
being that it was their first home game. But like literally everybody had jerseys. Like literally everybody had gear. Like everybody
Yeah.
was ready to go. Like everybody had shirts, everybody had scarves, everybody had kits. Like it was just like I was really surprised to see like the amount of fanfare that was going on and the amount of like just actual spirit that was being shown into this team that literally was having their first home game of their existence. It was just awesome. It was such a great time, and like the environment and the fans were everything to make this. And then like I said, the game lived up to the hype considering it was literally scoreless for 92 minutes until the game winner in the 93rd minute. It was like such a tension build hype, and then
Yeah.
just all of it exploding in one swift kick into the net.
Yeah. No, it was remarkable. I don't even know. I was trying to get stats on like how full it was. It felt a lot more full than it actually was, especially in terms of energy wise. But like, also the area around there was obviously like newly done and everything's been moving into Madison. But like, I mean, it was a nice area. Obviously, we spent hours eating and drinking at I think it was a Vintage Brewing Co. that was there, which was
Yeah.
awesome. And being able to walk to that and also have it be affordable, like cities need more affordable sports like that and things that are close by. And from what I could see in the apartment buildings and everything else that was around, and you can kind of see into the stadium, which is like, imagine having a balcony seat for something like that would be a ton of fun. But
Yep.
I don't know, it was just like nestled in a nice area, and I can't believe I did not see anything about that beforehand. So I'm just happy to see more of that.
Well, it's because they're also just so new. And then we also like you don't live in Madison, and either
Yeah.
like we don't live in Madison, and we have the Chicago Fire at our in Chicago. So it's one of those where we just didn't know they existed. But now that we do, hell yeah, we're gonna go to games in the future if we possibly can. It was an awesome experience. It was an incredible time, and I wish nothing best for the organization because it was. And I full heartedly think they're gonna do fine and be around for years and years and years to come because of the amount of excitement that was there at that team in that organization. It was awesome. It was
Yeah.
such a fun experience. And with that logo and that like that color scheme, it's absolutely
Yeah,
whoever
your own kind of
designed
vice
that.
like jerseys.
That's what I'm saying. Whoever designed that, man, great job. You deserve a round of applause just yourself.
Yeah, I mean, God, think of the cruise wear sales you're gonna be able to like get to people just just for that.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. Like I want like a flowered shirt. I want that pattern and the symbol on the shirt, but in a shirt. Like I want the whole pattern over the shirt and then I want that symbol there.
Yeah,
Like that's the shirt that I will wear around.
yeah, I definitely wanted to look more into like the founding and everything of it, because it seemed like you said, it was strange for it to not have as many home games, but to have that many fans and people with like merch and a following and stuff.
Yep.
So like that was unexpected for how much time I think they had spent there. So whoever like did the demographics and like where they're gonna put the team, like he did a good job with that.
Yep. The team just did a fantastic job with obviously it's marketing, obviously bring the community together. It's, like Flamingos right off the bat is obviously not a name that you would like immediately think is going to be a successful team name. It's the same how I felt a lot like the Pelicans when it first started. But like when you start seeing like the uniforms and then like the logo looks pretty cool, even though it's a flamingo, that looks pretty dope still.
Yeah,
And, like it's the whole thing is great. The whole
yeah,
thing is well designed, well deserved popularity, and I hope that they continue to grow and become popular. And I would love to go to a game in the future, and I hope to get merchandise at some point.
yeah, yeah.
So
I guess other than that, did you have any more topics you wanted to bring up?
no, I think we actually hit every single topic that I wanted to. We even hit the two topics that I kind of teased from last episode that we didn't get to. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that was actually I didn't even remember to talk about this until you brought it up. So I'm glad you did because this is like a whole segment that I wanted to get to, but I completely forgot about. But yeah, we hit everything, and it wasn't in a super crazy week for sports topics, but I think what we did cover and everything. There's a lot of fun stuff that's going to come, especially with we'll see how these play-in games go. And again, we're still watching this live right now, and it looks like Golden State's up 74-70 right now, at least on my end. And it's one of those where Golden State looks like they've been leading the whole time, but the Lakers are hanging in. So this should be a fun one to end. So I can't wait to watch the rest of this. But next week, we'll have plenty more topics for you, as well as, different things that we're hopefully going to start doing in the future. I know that we've talked basically about how both of our schedules are going to be free on Tuesdays, so we would love to do some kind of maybe even like a gaming thing on Tuesdays, and then do the podcast on Wednesdays. That could be fun. So that's definitely to look forward to. I know that we've had viewers and stuff to ask about whether or not we want to expand and do stuff like that. I think that would be hilarious and fun for us to do things. And there's a couple ideas that I actually have for as far as gaming, which we'll talk about. But yeah, just to tease a little bit, and look forward to seeing everybody next week.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you then. So have a good night.
All right. Good night.